Welcome back, Team Smackdown. Let's not waste any time and hop back into the fold. This episode of Smackdown would open up with an appearance from the phenomenal AJ Styles, as he'd want to explain his reasons for costing Zayn and Owens their extremely pivotal tag team match last week. Styles, again, seemingly formed some sort of alliance with Drew McIntyre, who, as a reminder, is in action tonight against Bobby Lashley to determine which of them will compete for the WWE Championship at Backlash. It was an interesting Friday for Styles last week, as he also was offered a spot in the Judgment Day, which he declined. Upon his entrance, he would condescendingly state that he didn't owe the live crowd any explanation, and that they should feel lucky that he is blessing them with his reasoning. He'd state that him and McIntyre carried the company on their backs through some of its darkest eras. And now this new era rightfully belongs to them. And that's just when one of the men who AJ cost last week would make his voice heard, as Kevin Owens marched his way down to the ring. Owens, always in a fighting mood, looked even more eager to swing on this night, as he would eventually come face to face with Styles. Owens would state that frankly he didn't give a damn what AJ's reasons or motivations were, and that even on a certain level he understood. But he'd declare that Styles made a mistake coming after him and his best friend, and he'd challenge AJ to a fight on the spot. And his challenge would be immediately accepted, and we'd get Owens versus Styles to open up the show. From the opening bell, Owens would be ultra-aggressive and take out his frustrations on the man who robbed him of a potential WWE Championship opportunity. Styles, still never a slouch, connecting with an exploder suplex in the corner that nearly took all the wind out of Kevin's sails. Going forward, the match would be firmly in the Phenomenal One's control as Owens struggled to recover and mount his own offense. A huge back suplex on the apron looked to put Owens just seconds away from defeat. Styles would attempt to hit Owens with his own pop-up powerbomb, but unexpectedly was countered and nailed with a stunner. Not quite enough to keep Styles down, but he was reeling. Owens would stay on the attack until the Judgment Day's theme music would blare through the arena. JD McDonough would appear in the entranceway to rile up Owens and distract him from the task at hand. And it would be just enough for Styles to land big with the phenomenal forearm on Owens to put him down for the 3 count. 2 weeks in a row, Styles would be the man to put the nail in the coffin for Owens, but this time rather unexpectedly the Judgment Day played a part. JD would lay out yet another offer to Styles to join the Judgment Day, but yet again the offer was turned down promptly. Seemingly having no interest in joining the faction, AJ continued on to celebrate his win. Up next, we'd have a #1 Contenders Battle Royal to decide who would be facing Women's Champion Rhea Ripley at Backlash. This match features a wide selection of Smackdown talent, like the young and talented Zoe Stark on one hand. Zelina Vega also finds herself in this match. After an impressive showing at Backlash last year, she looks to earn her spot at Backlash this year and walk out as a champion this time around. The Battle Royal would get a shot in the arm as a returning Raquel Rodriguez would be inserted into the matchup. Rodriguez, of course, has her own history with Rhea, adding some motivation for her. Chelsea Green would also be attempting at finally breaking through in this women's division. Of course, a former women's tag team champion, Green has held gold before and can't get enough of it. WWE Hall of Famer and one half of the women's tag team champions Trish Stratus would also be in the Battle Royal alongside her tag team partner Zoe Stark. The buzz online would pick up as fans would talk about a potential clash of eras between Trish Stratus and Rhea Ripley. Asuka would enter this match as the favorite to win it all and create a WrestleMania 37 rematch between her and Ripley. After a loss to Io Sky last week, Piper Niven would have another chance to solidify herself as a great singles competitor. Of course, with her tag partner Chelsea Green in the Battle Royal, they'd have each other's backs. And the final entrant in the #1 Contenders Battle Royal would be Bayley. At the end of last week's episode, we saw Bayley approach Zoe Stark about a new version of Damage Control, and now they're opponents on this night. From the very start, this match was all-out chaos. All of these immensely talented women knew exactly what was at stake, and they spared no effort trying to make sure they walked out with their ticket to Backlash. Asuka and Chelsea Green would be the first two to go over top rope. And in a shock to all watching, Piper Niven would eliminate Trish Stratus, sending the Hall of Famer packing. And as it came down to the final three, Piper Niven would eliminate Rodriguez, leaving herself and Zoe Stark fighting for their shot at Rhea. Niven would eliminate Stark to win the Battle Royal and also making it her third elimination in the entire contest. Piper Niven had secured her spot against the women's champion Rhea Ripley at Backlash, and the champ herself would come down to the ring to try to plant fear in the challenger's head. Challenger and champion would come face-to-face as just in a few weeks. The first women's title match of the new era would take place at Backlash. Up next, Thea Hale would make her second appearance on Smackdown after answering the open challenge from the women's champion last week. This time without Andre Chase and Duke Hudson in her corner. Thea expressed the need to prove that she belongs and asked the rest of Chase U to not accompany her tonight. And she'd have her work cut out for her as she'd take on Ivy Nile of Diamond Mine. Two young talents very new to the main roster looking to build momentum. The story of this contest ended up being Nile nearly always on the offensive, and Hale playing to her best defensive ability. For a moment, Hale seemed to be mounting her own offense as things seemed to be rolling the Stars' way. But eventually, Hale would find herself locked in Ivy Nile's Dragon Sleeper and be forced to tap out. And just like that, Nile is your winner. After the match, Thea Hale would run into Baron Corbin. He'd offer her some advice, telling her that Andre Chase has been teaching her all wrong and that he thinks she can become a legitimate contender if she leaves Chase U behind. Thea would appear confused and conflicted as Corbin walked off, doubting herself and her progress. Moving forward, we would have a match to decide one competitor who would take place in the WWE Championship match at Backlash as Drew McIntyre takes on Bobby Lashley one-on-one. The other participant of the WWE Championship match would be decided later tonight when main event Jey Uso would face LA Knight. But for now, we had two of the most physical superstars on the roster, competing for a chance to win the ultimate prize. The WWE Championship is a prize that has been the goal of many legends since the company's inception. And in this new era, the next chapter of its lineage has to be written. Heavily physical from the opening bell, McIntyre's obsession with the WWE Championship was pushing him to a higher level of performance. But the unmatched strength of the Almighty would be on full display as Lashley spent the next few minutes tossing the Scottish Warrior around the ring. McIntyre connected with a huge dive over the top rope onto Lashley as the commercial break came along. The end of the contest would come when the Almighty would find himself on the receiving end of a Claymore for the second week in a row. McIntyre secures his spot at Backlash, and he puts Lashley's title aspirations on standby. Now the only question was, who would Drew's opponent be? Jey Uso made it extremely clear to everyone last week that the very last box he needs to check off before he can be happy with his career is becoming the WWE Champion. With the era of Roman Reigns now over, being the face of the brand is now the only thing Jey feels he has left to do. But his opponent is one who is supremely hungry and motivated, as LA Knight has earned every bit of success he's had in the WWE. He embodies this new era of Smackdown perfectly. Both men are well deserving of this opportunity, but only one of them could walk away with the chance to face Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at Backlash. The crowd was torn between the two competitors, as seeing one superstar's dream come closer to fruition meant watching the other's dream slip further out of reach. It was vintage Jey Uso for a while, but then in signature Knight fashion, he started to turn this matchup into a straight-up fight. Both men were worn down by this point in the matchup when they decided to stand their ground and go blow for blow, the crowd chanting their approval with each landed blow. Eventually, Knight would win the exchange, and from that point on, the momentum was firmly in his grasp. A BFT from Knight would put an end to the contest and deny Jey his chance to make his dream a reality. The match at Backlash was decided. LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. As Knight celebrated, Jey would appear severely disappointed from the sidelines. Maybe his dream would never come true. In the final segment of the episode, we'd be treated to an installment of the Grayson Waller effect. Waller, another young talent who may very well have a bright future in this new era. His guest tonight would be the Viper, Randy Orton. Orton has been in a constant battle with the Judgment Day in recent weeks, and after beating Finn Balor last week, he stated he intends to rid SmackDown of the Judgment Day once and for all. Orton, a 20-plus year veteran, has seen all there is to see in WWE, and the SmackDown fans couldn't be more grateful to have him on the roster. Waller, as usual, would begin the interview taking jabs at Orton about his loss in the United States Championship triple threat at WrestleMania, where Dominic Mysterio walked out as the champion. Orton would assure Waller that his business with the Judgment Day was only just beginning, and that the United States Championship would fall into his hands by the time he was done. And that's when Orton would be on the receiving end of an attack from Finn Balor. And it wouldn't be too long before more Judgment Day members got involved. But just when it looked dire for Orton, the Chase U theme would blast through the arena speakers as Andre Chase and Duke Hudson would rush down to the ring to make the save. Maybe it's the element of surprise, or maybe Chase U truly does pack a punch, but Judgment Day was forced to retreat, but not before Dominic would be caught with an RKO out of nowhere. Chase U had saved Orton from what could have been a career-altering beating. And as the show closes, the crowd was on their feet with their Chase U signs on full display. New stars are being born on Smackdown. We can only wait to see what the fallout of this will be. You'll have to tune in next week.